goes it, everyone? My name is Nikki, and I'm back today with another LEGO set review. Now, since last one, I've actually purchased 2 more Lord of the Rings LEGO sets. I got the Balrog Book Nook, which is a really small set, and I'm going to tack a short review on the end of my upcoming Lord of the Rings video essay, just for the sake of time, just because I don't have enough to say about it to make it into a full video. And the other is Barad-dur set, which is what this video is about. Now, looking at the shelves behind me, you might notice that all my LEGO sets are gone. I'm going to college soon, and I had to move out of my room because we had some people coming to live with us. So all of my Legos are currently in our spare room, where I'm going to be staying whenever I come home on breaks. So I had to reorganize everything, and most of it is all on a bunch of shelves where we used to keep games and other Legos. Some of it is on another shelf that was already in there, and I had to bring in a dresser, which is where the Rivendell set is now. And Barad-dur is currently on a small table. So I finished this up about a week ago, and my overall thoughts on it, great. Amazing set. Love it. It is technically my least favorite of the 4, or really of the 3 big ones. That doesn't mean it's good, it's just, not my personal favorite. So this review, I'm going to change it up. I usually talk about the minifigures first, but I have less to say about them this time because there are fewer minifigures. The Sam and Frodo minifigures are the same as the one that came in the Rivendell set. They just don't have the capes. There is a new variation of Gollum, and I actually have the 2 older ones, so I have all of the Gollums. And honestly, I don't quite like this one as much as the others. Mostly it's the eyes. I don't think they fit Gollum very well. One of Gollum's biggest defining features to me is those big pupils, and he doesn't really have those. He doesn't really have pupils at all in this version. But I still think this Gollum is pretty cool looking. There are actually 5 new orc designs in this set. There's one of Gothmog, who has never had a minifigure before, and then there's just some generic looking orcs. They are all very well designed. They look super cool. They actually have a new shield design, which was, I believe, was made just for this set. And 2 of them have this kind of curved looking sword pieces. I don't know if those are also a new mold, but they are super cool looking. The 2 minifigures that really stand out are Sauron and the Mouth of Sauron. Sauron has never been released in minifigure form. Well, there was one of him of the Necromancer of Dol Guldur, which is technically Sauron, but Lord of the Rings era Sauron, the one that most people know, has never been a minifigure before, and now he is, and it looks really cool. The Mouth of Sauron is a character who was previously released in minifigure form at the Battle of the Black Gate set, and I actually have him, but I don't have his legs. Those are still unfortunately missing, so I'm going to need to find a new pair at some point. The model pretty much looks the same, but the Mouth of Sauron is just overall such a cool minifigure that getting to say I have 2 of them is honestly great. Again, not much to say about the minifigures. They are overall very well designed. It's just that most of them didn't really stand out as compared to the ones in the other sets. Sam and Frodo, I said, are basically the same. The orcs are very well designed, but I've never been particularly interested in those. And Gollum's design is just kinda eh. Sauron and the Mouth of Sauron, I think, are the best too. Overall, I think they did a great job with the minifigures, and they no longer have an issue that was present in the Shire and Rivendell. I might have harped on it a little bit too long in my other videos, but basically, the brick-built legs they made for the hobbits were the wrong color. In Rivendell, the ones they made for Bilbo looked right, but the ones they made for Frodo didn't, and that meant that technically none of the other hobbit characters had the brick-built legs. It didn't match with them. And the Shire said it was actually the opposite problem, where Bilbo's were fine, but Frodo's weren't. This set does not have the issue because they did not make the brick-built legs for Sam and Frodo, because they really have no reason to be sitting down while they're at Mordor. It is important to note that the order of sets released was Rivendell, Barad-dur, the Shire, the Balrog Book Nook, and so technically this is a problem that still has not been fixed. It's just a problem that wasn't present because I bought this set after the other 2. I'm still hoping if LEGO makes any more Lord of the Rings sets, they fix that, because I know it's not that big of a deal, but it just bothers me personally. So that's about all I have to say of the minifigures. Let's talk about the set itself. Overall, it is super cool. There is so much fun stuff going on. One of the biggest appeals are the various levers and contraptions all throughout the set. There's one that opens the front gate. There's one that lowers a cage with a skeleton down into lava. There's one that opens the Throne of Sauron to a view where he has the Palantir and he's using it to spy on people. And there is a light-up brick that can cause the Eye of Sauron at the top to light up, and the eye actually swivels around so it can look around at different things. I said before that LEGO sets have always been about the small details, and the details in this set are absolutely amazing. For example, the middle section is the dining hall, and there's all kinds of food and utensils and even a little soup pot hanging on the stove. There's a desk where the Mouth of Sauron sits and does research, and on it there's walls with murals of Sauron and pictures of books and stuff. We've seen the piece of mithril armor that Sauron uses to trick people into think he's captured Sam and Frodo. There's a ladder with a bookshelf to reach the higher up books. It is all just so well designed. But unfortunately, I think the big problem with the set is that big picture-wise, it's a little bit more difficult to put together than the other ones. This set is more fragile than me. I'm fine, I promise that was just a joke. Similar to the Rivendell set, it's built in 3 pieces, so each booklet is the layer of the tower. First one's the lowest, then the middle, then the highest. But putting these things together was such a pain. I recall I talked about with Rivendell set that putting 3 pieces together didn't always fit exactly, but they were good enough. With a Shire set, they just clicked into place so easily. It was amazing. The other sets are more expanding outwards. This one's going upwards because it's a tall tower. And so the pieces move in a little differently. They kind of slide in layer by layer. Instead of using like bricks with holes and then the kind of white pipes that go in there, I don't really know how to describe it, but I'm assuming you know what it is if you've seen the set. They don't do that in the Barad-dur set. They kind of slide in. Some of the bricks kind of have spaces in between them to slide each other. I can't really describe it without like making you look at the pictures from the book. Suffice it to say, it is a lot more difficult to put together, and this thing has a lot of small pieces like rocks that are kind of glued to the side of each, and they fall off so easily. I was building the bottom layer, there's a lot of lava. There's those like transparent yellow pieces and orange. They look really good for lava, but they fall off very easily. There's at least a couple occasions where I lost some small pieces. One of them I never figured out where it goes. It's fine. The second booklet is the shortest, and so that middle section takes the least amount of time. So that one was definitely the easiest to build. The bottom had its issues, but it wasn't too bad. The top was the worst. That thing broke on so many occasions and took me so long to put it back together. I honestly thought spending like a whole hour building a large section of the roof in the Rivendell set was bad. This was 5,000 times worse. Honestly, the Rivendell set itself was pretty fragile on places. This one is so much worse. Honestly, the Rivendell set as a whole is pretty fragile, but it's not nearly as fragile as this one. I mean, it took me less time to do. It took me like 4 days instead of 5. I wasn't actually tracking it. If I had to guess, I would say maybe 15 hours in total. Maybe even like 17. It's almost as big as Rivendell. It's like 1,000 pieces less. The Shire is significantly smaller compared to the other two, hence why it took a lot less time. This time I wasn't recording like the time-lapse version because that did not work out when I was trying to do the Rivendell review, so I wasn't really keeping track of my time. Just know it took a while, and it took a lot longer than it really should have. So yeah, the building process was just very frustrating. There were 2 reasons why this one was less enjoyable outside of the fragility of it all. Number 1, it's not quite as visually interesting to me. See, the Shire is full of beautiful plants and green grass and all these small little pieces like tents and fireworks. Rivendell has this gorgeous roof, this cute gazebo, a little waterfall and a river, and so much fun stuff going on. It's all bright and colorful and beautiful. Barad-dur is not that. It is rather monochrome. I mean, the bottom with lava and rocks has a lot more layers and colors to it, but once you start building up, it's basically all black and gray and brown, and it's just not quite as visually interesting. And number 2, there wasn't quite as much in each individual piece. With Rivendell, the first thing you build is the side tower where Bilbo sits on his writing desk and works on his book, and there's such cool art there. There's all those statues. The second booklet, I believe, was the river and the gazebo and the weapons forge, and the middle section was the main building with all the maps and books and the Council of Elrond. With Barad-dur, the bottom point is like rocks, lava, and some weapons forge. The middle section is like, here's a dining hall, with not quite as much fun detail to it. There is detail, but not as much. And then the top portion is just like stacking up super tall, and because each of the individual rooms are so much smaller, there's not enough space to put as much fun stuff in there. The process was rather frustrating at times, and honestly just not as fun as it could have been. Don't get me wrong, it is a great set. I had a lot of fun building it. Like I said, it's still good, it's just probably my least favorite of the 4, or probably at least of the big 3 ones. And it is also very expensive, not new for LEGO, obviously, but it was almost as much as Rivendell, and it was not nearly as enjoyable of an experience. If you're someone who likes blacks and grays and building really cool architecture and tall towers, then yeah, you'll love this set, but it was not my personal favorite. I'm so glad I bought it. I did have a good time building it, and it looks super cool. I just feel like less people would like this over the Shire or Rivendell, or even the Balrog Book Nook, because that one is pretty small and doesn't take nearly as much time, isn't nearly as frustrating to put together, and still looks pretty cool because the frickin' Balrog in it. But if you're someone who's like, yeah, give me old Lord of the Rings Legos, I'll take anything with it, then I think you would like this one, because I liked it too. Hi, Future Nikki here. I forgot to mention this when I was originally recording. You might remember in my review on the Rivendell set, I said they had facts about the design process in the instruction booklet, and the Shire said they had those facts as well as quotes from the movies. Barad-dur has the same as the Shire set, both design facts and movie quotes. And as I said last time, I think the movie quotes are nice in theory, but I would rather there just be more design history. Like, I know the movie quotes. I've seen them. I'd much rather you just tell me everything you can about this design, but maybe they said all they could and the quotes were just to fill up some space. At least we got a Faramir quote, which we haven't yet so far in any of the design as far as I know. Yay. Thanks for that, Lego. Now give me a Minas Tirith set. Alright, that is pretty much all I have for today. I'm sorry this review is so much shorter than the other ones. I just have less to say about it, especially in regards to the minifigures. But if you're interested in buying the set, I will leave a link in the description where you can check it out yourself. That's all for now, and I hope you all had a great day. Bye-bye!